Hi, I'm Amy from Denim Dudes, and I'm here with the amazing, enthusiastic Monique, who is going to take me through and us through her vintage collection. Monique, please introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about you.
Monique Buzy-Pucheu. I'm a denim consultant based here in New York. I actually have 50% of my clients in LA, 50% here in New York, so I'm back and forth all the time. Yes, I have a pretty insane denim archive, an actual casual archive. Probably over 700, 725 pieces, not quite sure. Need to do the inventory. That's a good task for our time right now.
Yep.
So I'll walk you through a few pieces here. Went to FIT for design merchandising, ended in production engineering with a bachelor's of science.
Oh,
went to Ralph Lauren, worked in production at Ralph for 3.5 years. He promoted me to design, worked there for a few years, then went to Diesel USA, which was a license. It was short-lived, it was only 1 year, but it was 285 odd days of traveling around, putting Diesel into work. Italian know-how, made in USA and China. It was an amazing education. And I got a call from Mr. Calvin Klein to start something called CK Calvin Klein Jeans, a little brand he wanted to do. So I was design product manager. We boomed, Marky Mark, Kate Moss, you know the story.
Yes.
For 7.5 years. Took 8 months off to go out west to Massimo. They called me back, finished up executive vice president of merchandising, and started my consulting company.
Wow.
22 years ago.
And so you've been consulting ever since and buying ever since. And you pretty much collect, you don't get rid of, you keep everything. And then I'm guessing you revisit a lot of these garments throughout the year.
I do. You know, once in a while I'll sell. Like I had a great gal, her name escapes me, from Levi's. I had a whole, like I set everything up like I told you. You will see next time you come to New York.
Yeah.
We set everything up, we had wine, cheese, and you know, for something like Levi's, they want it, they want to own it. So that's fine. I sold her a few pieces that I was willing to get.
You know it's going to the right place, going back home.
Pretty much, yeah, and it was great. It was really great. I mean, she saw the whole collection, all brands, but then of course she bought hers. She bought Levi's. Yeah, I keep them because I love them. And I also keep them as a consultant. It's really important to serve that up to your clients. I think that there's a lot of consultants out there that, you know, that's part of your responsibility. You need to serve up great washes to them. And, you know, I did Gap 1969 under Patrick Robinson, and he really wanted authentic vintage. And I really had to dig deep. And that's when I worked with Brit Eaton and Heller's Cafe. And that was on my dime. But you know what? That's also part of the relationship of consulting. So I really think that that's important.
Yeah.
Like Wrangler 47, I did that. I had more vintage garments of Wrangler and Bluebell than they had. So, you know, and they were like, that's great. Can we use them? Of course, you know,
exactly. That's what you're adding value as a consultant, you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's like, you know, kind of no nonsense. Like the buck stops here. And so one of my clients, Alexander Wang, Chica Grace, comes in and sees the collection. And, you know, I've been working with them for like almost 4 years. And, you know, things that I showed her 2 years ago are not relevant, but now she'll be like, hey Mo, do you remember this, blah, 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 blah. And we'll go in and get something that's really crazy marbled from like the 80s, and we'll put that in. So you're constantly going through
going
it.
back in,
Yeah.
but in different ways. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I wanted you to take me through some of your favorite pieces and kind of just talk about your process really. And like, you know, you might have a jean that you've used in several different ways, but you know, maybe it's the wash for one client or it's the pocket detail for another. So yeah, if you can take us through some of your favorites. I'm dying to see what you've got. I've heard stories.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of two things, and we talked about that a little bit before, is, you know, I have my personal favorites that happen to be the oldest and happen to be the priciest, that only work for a few brands, if any. Yeah. You know, I consulted for Martelli Laundry in Italy. They were all over that, you know, so either sometimes they bought off of me if they really wanted it for their archive, because their archive was insane, or we just borrowed it and shared it. So they understood the crazy pieces. Like,
yeah, okay,
this amazing buckle back from Stronghold. And, you know, it has this amazing wear pattern here and this great repair.
Wow.
And just, you know, the whiskers on the back are just insane.
Yeah, beautiful.
Another one that it's just outrageous.
Wow, yes.
Back that has that gray. I mean, we don't quite know what that is, and I'm not going to question it, but we think it's paint. And this is another gold. And just look at the repair on the crotch. It's pretty amazing.
Insane. It's like a map of the world. It's beautiful.
We'll have some brands, which this is the bulk of the business, let's say, is, you know, I have these, you know, I'll have, this is like a 1942 Levi's, which just has amazing whiskers and really subtle and feminine. So for this, I'll either mark it up if I want to, because it also could stain the garment, so we have to, or I just give, you know, the factory descriptions of use this whisker, add 3D, like go through the chemical process with them, how to redo this on a more modern fabric. So that's,
yeah.
So I would say that using like these kind of, I'll just show you like 2 different shades that have really great whisker patterns.
Yeah, beautiful.
You know, this is something that I would say the bulk of my business is. This is what most of my clients are looking for, really authentic vintage washes that they could do on modern fabrics that are out there with the T400s, with the great recovery, but still want to look vintage.
Yeah, got you. And so you say that is mostly what clients are looking for right now. Have you, what can you tell us about as far as like wash trends are concerned? I mean, obviously everyone really talks about, you know, open ends and an orange peel effect now. And obviously, you know, if we think about 10 years ago, everyone was super into heritage and the more kind of like workwear inspired constructions and finishes. What are you excited by at the moment? Like, what are you working on at the moment?
I'm actually really excited because obviously I work really closely with all the mills. And they're pulling out things, and again, I've been working with them for a very long time. They're pulling things out that they had that are really heritage. So we're starting to see a little bit of the popcorn again, not so much of the marble. And I'm just like, whoa, it looks so fresh. Or like, you know, the super bright indigo shades without any sulfur, just something that's really blue and really casted. Yeah.
That's
you know, something like that, I would go to this amazing, like super clean Levi's jacket with just this kind of wear, but you see how it's like more bright blue casted? I don't know if you can
yeah, that's beautiful.
So, you know, this is like really beautiful. And something like this, I would love. I'm very inspired by this orange stitching that's on it, that really bright orange.
Oh yes, we can just about see that. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And it's not too much of a contrast, so this is something that would inspire me to, you know, on a new, innovative, brighter casted indigo.
So you were also talking to me about details, and I thought it was something really interesting that you said about, you know, taking inspiration from old, but modernizing, you know, and having that eye on commerciality. Talk to me a bit about that, because I think that was really, really important for a designer to take into consideration.
A red snap. This is from the 50s. I actually posted this a few days ago, and I was so inspired by this cross back.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. You know, I actually even have to say, use this a few times.
Yeah.
And, you know, so this looks like really cute, vintage and loose, but I had a client that wanted like really super skin tight. So I used a fabric that had amazing recovery, but it was like 80% stretch. But I took this vintage detail and did it in a super modern, like sexy, skinny kind of.
Yes.
And that's a way of taking a little bit of vintage and putting it in, you know, something that's more modern and what the customer wants.
Contemporary context. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a skill set that, you know, you were saying, you know, a lot of designers, it's great to have this incredible archive to tap into, but I think it's also about knowing, you know, having the eye and the modernity, you know, seeing it through a different lens and being able to pull different pieces, be it a wash or a detail, and really sort of make it contemporary.
Yeah, well, I have to say, you know, not that I ever step on their merchandisers' feet, but as a merchant, you know what's out there, you know what's selling, you know what's going to sell as a designer, so you have that insight, and you're like, okay, they're like, I want it exactly like this XXX, and I'm like, the rise is like 14 inches. It's just not going to work. Do you know what I mean? But I find a way of convincing, you know, because they want to use modern fabric, but they want to have this like old antiquated fit. And it's like, no, you could have the right fit, the right block type, but just take those good details. Or like this one, take this amazing coin pocket detail. Or like I showed you this before, this cross, you know, a cross grain back pocket. This is like so incredible, but you could do it. I mean, you really can't do that on a super stretchy fabric because that would look hideous. But I mean, you could do that on like a more modern block for men's and just, you know, 100% cotton or 98.2, and it'll look great. It'll just look nice.
Exactly. And I think that's the secret to good denim design. It's about those little tweaks that actually become that, you know, they end up being real statements on a pair of jeans. It's amazing how little you need to do to make something really, really perfectly designed, you know, a perfectly designed jean.
For sure. And, you know, I'm also feeling trend-wise again, is workwear, but workwear in like a more, I really don't want to say uniform because that can make you feel a little mow, but, you know, something that's just like really close to the body, but simple styling. The styling is really simple, but then you go maybe over the top in the wash, or vice versa. You do like a little bit more crazy styling, you really do simplistic wash. Like there has to be that balance, but now I just really think that more like that kind of uniform dressing to me, and then to me I think of, you know, I think of real workweary kind of styles, like, I mean, this is a cut off overall, but like, you know, with the really clean placket so you don't see the buttons.
Yeah.
So just patch pockets.
Real utility, like genuine utility rather than chore. Yeah.
And I think that maybe something like this could be in some kind of, I don't know, comfort-minded fabric. I think that after all we're going through right now, I know that I'm talking to a lot of males and we're talking about things that make your skin feel better, or that, like, you know, keep you warm or keep you cool. And I know we've been talking about that for a while, but I don't know if that was really the focus. I think that that's a little bit more focus, and I think that it's going to be a little bit more multi-purpose also.
100%. I think you're right. COVID is sort of certain trends were coming in, certain things were being thought about, but COVID is kind of like put a magnifying glass on certain shifts. Yeah, for sure. So we're running out of time, but I wondered if there's anything else you want to show us that's like a big favorite of yours to finish on.
This one I wanted to show you when we talked yesterday. Again, a lot of these I posted, so if I'm boring you people, but whatever. This is
cool.
1918 U.S. Army jacket. And again, this is something that I show to all my customers, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so great!" But they're like, "What do I do with it?" And I'm like, "But wouldn't that be great, like, to do that on a T-shirt, on an indigo T-shirt, the back of an indigo T-shirt, like the old Rising Sun? Remember, you know, they had that kind of like."
I love that idea. Yeah, again, it's just about like taking something and repurposing it on something more commercial.
This I would say is probably my most expensive. Okay, I'll use the word piece, but I had to have it. Yeah. I had a little bit of a pricing war actually going on with Levi's, with the chick that was doing Levi's at the time. And it's amazing. It is a 4-color cloth pattern. So all the colors are intact. You can see them all very clearly.
Wow.
And it's all the hardware. Look at these amazing hooks.
Wow. Wow.
And, you know, you can't be doing mining unless if you have a little, you know, tobacco tin there. So
beautiful.
Yeah, this is one of my faves. And again, we were talking about the sun bleach. You just look like a beautiful sun bleach pattern.
Stunner. Absolute
stunner. When you go visit, we got a lot to show you.
Yes, I can't wait to actually be there in person rather than on Zoom. But amazing, Monique. I wish we could talk for longer, but we kind of run out of time. But we could talk for hours. This could be a whole afternoon. So hit Monique up if you want to visit.
Sorry?
I said people should hit you up if they want to go visit, if they're in New York, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do rentals. I only do them honestly for people that I know or people that I can get recommendations from, because a lot of people skip out, and it's not my main business. This is really meant for my, you know, consulting business, for people to come and share ideas and
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah,
I'm
I
sure
like
there'll be some designers out there though that would be, you know, would be falling over themselves to come and check it all out. Awesome.
sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Monique. Have an amazing rest of the day.
Yeah.
And that was like the best 15 minutes of my day for sure. Bye.
Take it easy.